originally I was going to do, like, one of those mod showcases where I show you guys what's what in my game, but I realized I have a lot of mods in my game, and if I kept on showing you each bit, it would not do, well, it would be a freakishly long video. I noticed when I started doing this, just getting to the middle of the mods, it it went from just a few minutes to full on over half an hour. So I figured I might as well just tell you about the mods that I use in my game to make it more realistic, and then you guys can try it out for yourselves. So the first thing I do in my game to make it super realistic is I add mods that, well, not mods per se, CC, that makes the body types different. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the Luumia sliders and presets. So the Luumia sliders and presets actually allow you to have different types of bodies, short, tall, young, old, and it really does help with a lot of things. I personally suggest this particular presets and sliders, though there's another one that I use myself that I think is very good. It's called Sliders for Days, and I'll have these linked in the description so you guys won't have to go searching all over for it. Okay, so the next mod I want to talk about is the First Love mod, which it's basically what it is. It's a child sim is very acquainted with another child sim, and they start to get feelings for that sim. I think it's good for story progression, because if you've seen my How to Make Preteen Sims tutorial, then you know that when they change into teenagers, they would still be small and cute and innocent looking. And the way this First Love mod would work is you get close with that person, then you get a little crush on them, there'll be a first love menu, and you can confess. And most of the time it does seem like they're cool with the idea. I think that the person who makes the First Love mod should have an option where the kid would confess that they like them and then get rejected, because I think that would definitely add realism and make things a little sad. It would still give them the first love option, like, but then, like, they would not have that. I'm just saying for the future. So the next thing I want to talk about is a sex mod called Wicked Whims. It is a more realistic sexual mod where you can do all sorts of sexual things, but you won't get demonetized if you have what's called streamer mode. Streamer mode blurs out a lot of the naughty stuff, so you can actually record with Wicked Whims, and the mosaic will cover up all the nasty stuff. It won't cover up the sounds though, so just putting that out there. If YouTube does give you a problem because of the sounds, you can say, well, there are sporting teams who make the same sound, and you don't give them problems. So another thing that is part of Wicked Whims is these two new features called attraction and sweating. The attraction settings will allow your sim to get preferences, you know, like they'll see a different sim from across the room and they'll be like, wow, this person is beautiful. And in the attraction settings, you can set it so that the person could be into men, women, they can be into transgender people, they can be into all sorts of things. And I think that's actually quite cool. That's why I have it in my game. Okay, so next mod I want to talk about is MCC. So MCC does add realism to the game. It gives you the option to have child support and extend different phases of life. It allows you to have more realistic pregnancies. It definitely does help, and I think it's actually quite cool. I would say for the Wicked Whims thing, that should count as 3 functions to a mod. So Wicked Whims and MCC definitely have a lot of good to them. And I definitely would suggest it to anybody who has, like, mods out there who's trying to get a realistic view to that. So The next mod I'm going to talk about is the Ultrasound mod. So the Ultrasound mod is a pretty cool one. So when your sim gets into their second trimester, which for me is after 3 days, because I have my pregnancy set to 9 days, and that would be starting on the 3rd day. So into the second trimester, you would have the option on your phone where it'll allow you to make an appointment with a gynecologist, and you and your significant other would go to the gynecologist, and it would be great because what it does is it gives you a ultrasound photo, and you get to see your sim's reaction to finding out the gender of their baby and if they're having multiples. And it's great if you want to do a whole thing where they're decorating their nursery and they want to figure out what the gender of the child is. So the next thing is the after-school programs. So after-school programs is actually pretty interesting. It's allowing your child, preteens, and teens to go to a program after school that will make them be into what they want to be into, and it benefits both the child and the parent, because the parent, say you have a storyline where somebody's a single parent, this would work out for them because they can send their kids to after school and they wouldn't have to worry when they're coming back home from work. So the next function is a Wicked Whims function, which I didn't mention before. It's called sweating. So I don't think that it's related to the previous subject, that's why I saved it for this. So sweating in Wicked Whims allows your sims to have a more realistic reaction to working out and doing more things. And in The Sims, there was already a sweating option, like you could see little droplets of sweat coming off of your sims, but now you can actually legit see it on your sims, like it would come down on your sims, and the way to fix that would be to go and take a shower. You also get these buffs from sweating, which I think is kind of interesting. So the next thing I want to talk about is the quick showers and bathing. Quick showers and bathing, I think, adds a bit of realism, because say you want to go... Okay, so you get up late for work, and you have to go and take a shower and eat. But the old way of showers leaves you with not enough time to do so. So with the quick showers, what you can do is you can take a quick shower, and you can have your meal, and then go off to work without worrying about the time. Now, the next mod I want to talk about is not something that every person needs, but I think would be good for storytelling. It's called the smoking mod. The smoking mod, I think, I'm not entirely sure, don't quote me on this, but I think it works with the Basemental Drugs mod. So it might work with their addiction system, but I'm not entirely sure. I would say check with the Basemental website, but I think it did briefly mention that. I'm not entirely sure if it does, though. So, I know smoking is kind of gross, but it is a real thing that happens in life. And the way that this mod works is you would buy a pack of cigarettes or cigars or anything, and your sim would smoke it, and it would relieve stress for them. So, say there was a fire in your home or some sort of traumatic event, your sim will smoke to alleviate that stress. So the next mod is the Basemental Alcohol mod, which allows people to get drunk. And with this mod, there's also an option where you can have your drinks have real alcoholic drink names. You don't have to worry about your kids getting drunk, because the things that kids can interact with won't have this option, but the bars and all that will, and the kids will be not able to order from those things anyway, so it works out. And you can actually make a storyline where somebody is an alcoholic. I know some people don't want to hear stories like that, but it's actually kind of interesting. There are tons of stories where children have gone through emotional trauma because their parents are alcoholics, and this would be able to add that sort of storyline to your game. So now we have realistic reactions. That's another mod that I'm going through. Realistic reactions is basically, it's a cheating change mod. The reactions in The Sims are usually kind of unrealistic. They're usually like they're upset for a little bit and then they go back to being happy. But like the way this mod works is it basically extends on that. You can choose from what reaction you want to cheating, and then afterwards both the cheated partner and the cheatee will have reactions to it. There are tons of reactions to this mod out there on YouTube, but I figured I'd talk about this because it's actually quite interesting. It talks about how the child reacts to the infidelity and how the partner reacts to it and all that, and I think it's a pretty good mod. So, next mod I want to talk about is something I have active in my game. It's called Meaningful Stories, and Meaningful Stories is a happiness, so basically kind of the opposite of the previous mod I talked about, where this is like, the previous mod was a bad thing, this is kind of a good thing, where it changes up the reactions to certain things. It makes it so that you have more genuine happiness rather than just what the game gives you. It adds flow and emotions to your Sims, and it gives them buffs based off of what's going on in their lives. And I think that's great. So, to add on to that, I got my next mod here, which is Slice of Life. Slice of Life is kind of like, it's like these two mods, but it adds something else, where it gives the Sims like their own responses to their actions and feelings, and it gives it to them physically, where they would get breakouts from eating certain foods, which I think that's the reaction, because I mean, I've noticed whenever the Sims get stressed, hormonal, or eat certain foods, they get breakouts. I mean, I could be wrong. Kawaii Stacy, correct me on that. But I think that's why they do that. When they get nervous, uncomfortable, or they're in love, they blush, they have hormonal reactions, they have periods. And I know that Wicked Whims and the MCC has cycle options for your Sims, but I like the Kawaii Stacy version of periods because it feels like you can have basically, like, say you have a friend and your friend would be on your cycle and you'd be like, yo, we're on our cycle, oh my god. But yeah, like, I think it's actually quite cool. So the next mod isn't a free mod, but it does add realism, and I think it's pretty cheap actually. If you go onto their Patreon and you pledge to this every month, it's a mod called Get to College, and it allows you to have a university experience. It'll give you the option in your careers, and you would go to college. I noticed that Troy had talked about this previously, and she's actually pretty cool. She showed me all these incredibly awesome cluster packs. I love them. Some of them I can't use in my game because it causes problems. I'm not entirely sure what it's interfering with, but I'll figure it out eventually. So the next thing I want to talk about is called the Habits mod, and basically what it'll do is it'll give your Sims a routine. So, you know how your Sims kind of just do their own thing and they don't really think about their priorities? So, it'll give you 5 routine cycles for your Sims, and your Sims will have any options. So say you want your Sims to get up and brush their teeth, take a shower, go and eat. You will have that option for your Sims, and they'll do it. And I think that that is actually pretty cool because they'll do stuff on their own, which will add to the realism that they know what their own needs are, rather than you doing it for them. So the next thing is the fitness controls. Fitness controls is sort of a weight/exercising mod, where based off of your physical activity, you'll be chunky, or you'll be incredibly buff, or anything like that. And if you guys noticed, whenever your Sims get older, they get this sort of pudge to them. it's because the way that the Sims metabolic system works naturally, it makes the older Sims kind of chunky. Because when you get older, your metabolism slows down, which makes sense. But with the fitness controls, it'll be based off of their activity rather than what their age is, which I think works pretty well because there are thin older people, there are fat older people. It really does work well with a actual storyline. And the last mod I want to talk about is called Passionate Romance. So it's kind of a sort of realistic, I'm not gonna say completely, it kind of has sort of a romance novel kind of feel to it, but the Passionate Romance mod allows for sort of a more realistic romance system. But I would say it's not necessary. I like the mod, but I don't use it very much, and it is kind of nice for like screenshots and stuff, because you get to do all sorts of really nice things. But if you have wicked whims, you can also do a lot of those really nice poses by just using the poses and all that. And all you would have to do is just remove the streamer mode, and you can get really cute, realistic romance scenes as well. Which, if you aren't bothered by sim nudity, it works out quite well. Anyway, I think I'm going to end this here. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Like, comment, and subscribe for more spastastic content. And I love you guys. Stay awesome. Bye-bye. Mwah. Bye. So it's time once again for the Phantom Squad top tier. These are for the people who are awesome sauce. And awesome sauce is sometimes devious. I mean, it can be spicy. It can be sweet. It can give you diabetes because it's too perfectly sweet. And you are too perfectly sweet. Yay! I did something cool for once! Yay! Anyway, I want to thank you guys for being super duper duper amazing, and I hope you guys continue watching and supporting to my Twitter, Patreon, and everything and beyond. So here's to you, Jazz the Chameleon, Potato _ bunch of numbers, Edie Rose 23, Cute Girl Sim, Calorie _ Aiken, Carissa Sims, Malunix 5, Benjamin GYT, Lovely Laura, Veggie Gamer, Base Shaman, EJ Black Dove, Trippy D, Ray of Sunshine X1, Sonic Jenny, Shipty, Kaleda Sims, Prismatic Simmer, Sims Lita, Stray Shadow Cat, Sims Lena, and Josh CHG. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will be streaming on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Mixer. Hopefully you guys catch me in each one of these streams. All you gotta do is click the bell icon and you can catch me on any of these streams, and you will catch any sort of video that I put up on here, and I'll see you soon. Peace, my loves.